let's go into our modules. We're going to start our next module, which is the introduction to the dystopian literature pieces. Okay. But first, what we need to do is first of all, we want to set the tone for the second quarter. So let's go ahead and get on to the outlook for quarter 2 discussion. Okay, so what we have here, okay, hi everybody. We are on outlook for quarter 2. Okay, everybody's screen should be on. I shouldn't have to ask you guys, okay, unless, just message me if like your Wi-Fi is funny kind. I don't know how else to explain it. What would be another word for funny kind? Not working properly. Okay, so everybody on Canvas, outlook for quarter 2, yes? Nod your head, y'all, bob it, yes. Okay, so just gonna read it to you guys. Okay, so, apole. Oh, did you guys get to see the video then that Kumukalehua and the other students created? Yes? Yeah, Kumulehua showed it to us yesterday. We had a quick teacher meeting. Oh my gosh, I think we all might have cried a little bit. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Okay, so anyway, for outlook for quarter 2, everybody should be there. Apole is joining us, so we'll get started. It says, for generations, humankind has prospered under the understanding of communal and collective efforts. Today, we live in a time where the culture of accountability wavers between individuals. Some are incredibly honest in holding themselves accountable to their word, while some fall short on his or her responsibilities. Collectively, the importance of accountability can determine the health and success of an entire community. We depend on one another's contribution to society so that we can live in a safe place. And what? Okay, so that's for you guys. In the chat, go ahead. And what? Okay, so go ahead and add. Why do we depend on each other? And it can be a really basic level. You can look at your family bubble. You can look at just your neighborhood. You can look at maybe your extended family. Okay, so fill in the blank in the chat. We're just going to warm ourselves up here. Okay, so we depend on one another's contribution to society so that we can live in a what? Okay, so in the chat, go ahead. Oh, nice. Nice. Hi, Trinity. So we're just looking over outlook for quarter 2. And so we're finishing the sentence with, we depend on one another's contribution to society so that we can live in a safe and what? So in the chat, we're just adding to that. Okay, does anybody have any questions on what communal and collective efforts mean? You guys good? So Kaylee, while we're waiting for other people to add into the chat, could you elaborate on stable and balanced community? Because I thought those are
stable and balanced in the sense that, like, we were talking about one another's contributions to society. So it's like if one person is good at like one thing and another person's good at one thing, we can be the best in those things, and it'll help support each other. Because if someone's not good at the other thing, then they can help each other.
Totally, right? I think on a like family level, right? Maybe one person is not good at washing the dishes, but the other person is good at folding close, right? And so if you can switch skills, maybe that will work out, right? So let's see, pleasant community, well-rounded community, hopeful. Krisha, let's talk about hopeful community.
Like, you can be hopeful by, like, if something's happening, other people are there to support you
Okay.
in doing
Whatever you need to do. Okay, so when we're looking at us still being at home, right? Us still trying to figure out how we're going to get through all of this stuff, right? Hopefully you guys have your people, right? That you've leaned on, right? That you've called up and said, I'm not doing well. Tell me something funny, right? Okay. And hopefully you've talked to the people in your squad and you've reached out, right? Okay, so let's look at this. What does it mean to have accountability? Okay. It says accountability, right, as defined by the Webster's Dictionary, is the quality or state of being accountable, an obligation. So we're using these incredibly, like, I don't know, powerful words, an obligation or willingness to accept responsibility for one's actions, right? So what is accountability, right? And when we're talking about obligation, to whom? Go ahead and type in the chat. What is this obligation for? For whom? Who do we owe this promise to follow through on things?
Wait, sorry, Kuma, what was the question?
So I'm going on below the little picture with the hands. Yeah. And then so we're talking about the definition, right, of accountability as the quality or state of being accountable and obligation, right, or willingness to accept responsibility for one's actions. So who do you owe that obligation to? Besides, I mean, yeah, we all know, right, to ourselves, duh, right? But who else do you owe this obligation to hold yourself accountable? Okay, so let's look. Oh, okay. So I'm seeing a lot of like Ohana, yes, Zeke, yes to yourself. Okay, but what else? Like, think outside of yourself, because yes, I think we all can agree. If you don't agree that you owe it to yourself, then maybe we have to talk about that. Why not, right? When you start to do things because there are bigger reasons other than yourself, then you start holding yourself more accountable. Yeah, Ohana, school. Okay, so there's a multiple layers here, right? We have our friends, our family. What I put in the chat was that I owe it to my little sister. So depending on your moku ahau, right? If you have younger siblings under you, right? They're watching you, right? Regardless of this assumed responsibility, right? So let's go back to the definition. An obligation or willingness to accept. how willing are we to accept the responsibility for your actions? Have we all skirted around that? Oh, not my fault, right? How many of us have this like initial thought of, okay, how do I like make this not my fault, right? And that's okay. That's normal. Don't you think? Nod, right? How do I make this not my fault, right? Especially like if you screw up at home and your mom or your dad or even grandma's the worst. Oh my gosh. But how do you hold yourself to it, right? How do you get over it too, right? I don't know. I think also the one of the harshest people that you have to hold yourself accountable to is yourself, because that echo chamber, this brain that you have and that heart in you, right? That thing can echo major, right? The why did you do that? Can't you do things better, right? The self-talk is important. So when you look at this, yeah, the willingness to accept responsibility. Go ahead and click on the link just to kind of look over. I just gave you guys like an outside source to kind of look at. Okay, so there's just 7 truths about accountability. You may or may not agree, okay? But just go ahead and just kind of look at what other perspectives are looking at, especially with the leadership principles, okay? So accountability starts with you. Yeah, we know that. Okay, so just kind of look over. Okay, and once you get down to the 7th, oh no, the 7th truth about accountability, okay, pick one that you related to the most. Okay, you can, I think you can copy and paste it. So I chose number 3. Okay, choose one that you can relate to. You have to hold other people accountable. Accountability is the difference between 6. Ooh, okay. All right, Kai, let's go ahead. You have to hold people accountable. Why did you choose that one?
I chose that one because it like just like how you have to hold yourself accountable, you have to hold other people accountable as well.
Yeah, I think that's part of being a good friend. You guys agree? Anybody disagree? Yeah. Everybody have that brutal friend like Eva? Like that one friend that like tells you how it is and you're just like, ugh, ouch. Right? Apole, you got that one friend who tells you like how it is and it's like, ugh, murder. Oh, your mom. Oh, not your mom. I can't read your lips. Oh, is your mic not working? Oh, your uncle. Yeah. Oof. Okay, so let's go back to our discussion board. Okay, so for you, okay, you're gonna get into that discussion box. We're gonna take a solid 5 minutes. Go ahead, define what a successful second quarter looks like to you. Okay, what are you going to, I guess, do to ensure your success? How are you going to hold yourself accountable during the second quarter? Okay. do a good job on this. We're going to be be revisiting this. Okay, so you guys all got your grades. Okay, some of us forgot to do our first assignment. Okay, and then you guys can go ahead and there's like 30 seconds left. So go ahead if you're done submitting. Let's go ahead and look over and see. I mean, what are some of the, I don't know, some of the things that you see as common threads? Okay. What are some of the goals that you guys see like, oh, maybe maybe we can remind each other in this classroom? Right? So find a buddy in this classroom. If you guys are like not really good at being responsible with your membing, find a buddy, right? It looks like some of you guys wait till like the weekend or so to just start doing your work. Okay, but maybe you shoot each other an email. Hey, are you done with your stuff? Let's have a 3-day weekend, right? Anybody took advantage of that? Like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, nothing? Or is that impossible? Yeah. Okay. Go ahead and respond to as many classmates as you can. Words of encouragement. Okay, we can do this, right? So let's lean on each other a little bit, right? Okay, find a buddy in this classroom. Find somebody on your screen and say, hey, can we be buddies? Okay, can we like text each other? Can we like work together to make sure we're all good here? Hmm. Okay. Raise your hand. How many of you guys actually do use your planners? Okay, very good. Okay, and those of you guys who are using your planners, it shows. It shows in your grades. I can go into Canvas and do a check before the end of the week, and I can already start grading your work because you do it right away, right? And I think you'll find more success in doing your work right away during cohort B. So I'm hoping that you guys do that, okay? The other thing, all right, is this. When you know, your parents ask you, did you finish all your work? Right? And the first thing we want to say is, yeah, right? So that we can do other things, right? Again, that all goes back to accountability, okay? Um, we can bring our grades up. Some of you guys did exceptionally well as well. I don't want to like focus on what we're not doing because some of you guys did beautifully. I feel really lucky to be your teacher because I can depend on most of you guys to get your work done as soon as it's assigned. Okay, so anyway, I'm hoping that this activity, because we've taken a lot of time to get this work established, this idea of holding yourselves accountable. We've taken a lot of time to actually think about this. I want you guys to email each other, text each other. Hey, how you doing? Let's both get A's, right? Let's all get all of, in like KS Connect, right? When you look at your grades, let's all get a grade for each assignment. Okay, make it a challenge between you guys. Okay. I don't know. I don't know if I need to put in a reward for those of you guys who get points for every single assignment. Do I give you guys 5 extra credit points at the very end? I think that's pretty good. Okay. If you guys do really well at your membeing, holy smokes, you get to get an incredible amount of extra credit points every single week, and it adds up at the end. Okay, so just a reminder on that. Okay, let's get going here. I'm going to give you the Kalua i Ko'olau quiz. I need you guys to set your timers. So you guys have your phones? Okay. Okay, everybody set it to 15 minutes. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into our modules. One thing that I want to mention before you take the quiz. Okay, so go to the assessment for Kalua i Ko'olau. What we have here is a note the correction. Okay, so on the timeline, I want to make a correction to the Hawaiian Kingdom. Okay, it should say 1810 Paea unites all of the islands under the Hawaiian Kingdom. So I've checked with multiple sources on this term Hawaiian Kingdom. It should be the Hawaiian Kingdom and not the Kingdom of Hawaii. All right, the Kingdom of Hawaii is actually referred to the kingdom that was ruled by Keawe on the island of Hawaii. Okay, the Hawaiian Kingdom is the whole, right? The whole state, the whole nation. Okay, so just as a clarification to that, I just want to make sure that that's where it's at. Okay, in the chat, okay, let's go ahead and take our quiz. Okay. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can get into the quiz? Okay, awesome. All right, 15 minutes and then we'll get started with our dystopian unit. You start your timers. I'm going to give you guys a 5-minute warning. And then I'm going to close the quiz. So you need to make sure that you finish within 15 minutes. All right, you guys have like 5 minutes left. Some of you guys are going to be ending soon. So if you are done early, what you could do is start taking notes on what dystopia is, dystopian literature. Okay, it's the next one, it's the next module down. Jake in the chat. All righty, we have just about 1 minute left. All righty, let's go ahead and submit Okay, and let's move on. Okay, how are we? Do you have your tablets? Let me see your tablets. Sweet. Okay, we're taking notes. This definition of dystopia and utopia, what I want you guys to do is to take notes so that you guys have something to look back upon for your upcoming quiz. So when you look at this, right, we're jumping into this dystopian literature. We're gonna read 2 short stories and 1 novel this quarter. Okay, and if we have time, we're gonna write a mini short story, a short story that's your dystopian short story. Okay, so start thinking about the issues of current modern day life that you want to call out on, and just start looking around society and even your lives, like what are some of the problems that we really need to focus upon. Okay, all right, so let's look. Definition of dystopia. In its most basic form, it's the opposite of utopia. So what is utopia, right? In the chat, we know, right? So you don't need to even like type it in there, right? Utopia is like this perfect world, right? Dystopia, fictional societies that are incredibly imperfect. So we're going to be reading this really messed up story. Really messed up story. You're going to be like, holy smokes, why are we reading this story? Okay, well, this is part of American literature. It says, but it's not exactly the opposite as you think a utopia is, right? In dystopias, they may contain many of the same elements as utopias, such as intense measures of social control. But these measures are taken to horrific extremes. Okay, so let's go ahead in your notes, write down measures of social control. Go ahead. Measures of social control. What does that mean? Okay, let's hear from La'Akea. La'Akea, what do you think measures of social control mean?
What do you mean by measures?
Yeah, so it's the intense measures of social control, meaning like what does our society or our government do in order to control us?
Oh.
Yeah,
Um,
those measures.
Well, obviously they make laws.
Right, they make
And
laws.
consequences.
Okay. So we're gonna call out, and we're gonna be reading about measures of social control in society when we read these dystopian literature pieces. Okay, so what else? What are some other ways that we are controlled in society? Go ahead and write down a couple in your notes. What are some other ways we are controlled? Right, so I think about driving, right? Those little yellow lines that separate me from life and death, right? That's a social control, but I guess it's also like a need for survival, right? What are some other things that make you behave in a certain way? Kaylee, you got something? I know you got something.
Beauty standards.
What kind?
Beauty standards.
Oh my gosh, do not show up with funky kind hair, like, like you just woke up, right? You gotta look on point, right? I mean, we gotta like look the part, right? I don't know. It is really controlling though, to the point of what, right? We can go back to Mrs. Suarez's health class and we can name all of the issues that pertain to like body image, right? Things like that. Tia, what about you? What are you thinking about here?
Um, Maybe like the way you behave, being able to control yourself in front of other people to show
Right.
the way you feel. Like, yeah,
Oh,
basically like not being a crazy person.
right. Right. So, and that's a fine line, right? Like, and if you pay attention enough when you go like walk downtown Hilo, or when you go someplace and you're like, whoa, that person isn't acting right. What's going on there? And should I, cross the street? Should I avoid, right? I hope you guys always have your head on a swivel just so that you guys are safe, right? Um, ways to be controlled, very interesting. And they're unspoken rules sometimes, right? It's like social pressures, right? Krisha, can you talk about what are some other ways that like society controls us with intense, measures of this, like staying in your lane?
I think just like the people you hang out with can make a huge impact on it, I guess.
Whoa, right. Peer pressure, right? So maybe that's why we need to choose our friends right wisely, right? Yeah. So yeah, good point. Thank you. All right, let's move on to the orange box, right? So dystopian novels, just real fast, take some notes on this. Dystopian novels usually include elements of contemporary society and are seen as a warning against some modern trend. Okay, so I need you guys to take those notes, right? So it's a warning, right, about something that's happening. Off the top of your head, anybody have anything that you're like, you know what, I could probably write about this that's happening in contemporary times right now? Anybody? Zeke, what about you?
Um, I have no clue, to be honest.
Ah, okay. Like, what is something that's kind of like making it hard for people to live a prosperous life or a peaceful life?
Um, like what makes it difficult?
Yeah.
Like,
Like, is there a conflict that you're like, you know what, we could write about that?
um, sheesh. I don't know. My brain's not really thinking. I'm not into the scoop groove yet.
It's okay. Thank you for being honest. I really appreciate that, because at least yesterday I got to warm up my brain
Yeah.
because I had to actually go to school. That was really nice to see people. Apole, Ikiula, do you have can you talk? Like, does your mic work? Ah, oh, what a sad day. Okay. Alicia, what about you, girl? What is something that you could call to attention to?
Mental health.
Oh, right. I believe it's Mental Health Month or something, right? Yeah. Wow, we could totally write a dystopian on that. Finding our happy place. Interesting. Very cool. Anything else? Yeah, go ahead, Kaylee. No? Nobody. Blaze, what about you?
Whether I don't really know right now. I cannot think of anything.
Okay. All right, so I'm just going to throw one out there. Okay, because I think it's on my mind, but that is the idea of right now we have an election, okay, and that's weighing heavily on my mind. I'm not going to tell you who I voted for, okay, but issues surrounding that we could call attention to. Does that make sense to you guys? Like, it's disrupting. I mean, I don't know if you have family members that are on both sides and they're clashing with each other, right? Or they're not talking to each other. Same thing, like maybe even with the Mauna issue. You might have family members on both sides and battles. Rocky Balboa and Apollo just going at it, right? Or it's like, we don't talk about it, right? So how does a fractured society come back, right? Come back to being unified. That's my biggest, that's like weighing heavy on my heart right now, right? So for you guys, I want you guys to just check it out. What's like a disruption that's happening right now that's maybe making life hard, right? Are we okay talking to each other face to face, right? How many of you guys feel like weirdos? I embrace being weird or feeling uncomfortable because it's like we're not doing that anymore. I can text somebody, but when I got a call, I get like sweaty, right? I'm like, oh, I gotta call people. Ugh. Anyway, all right, so dystopian novels, very interesting. So go ahead and write down, they are cautionary tales. Add that to your notes. Or at least pretend like you're taking notes, please. Okay, at least pretend. Okay, so cautionary tales, we hear the word caution. So obviously it's saying, hey, we're going to give you a warning sign in which humankind is put into a society that may look inviting on the surface, but in reality, it's a darn nightmare. Okay, raise your hand. How many of you guys in middle school read The Giver? The Giver? Nobody. You think so, Apole, Hikiula? You, right? Everybody's dressed the same, right? Yeah. Nobody dies. If somebody dies, then they don't say they died, they go elsewhere. Ooh, if you guys, if you guys have time, you should read The Giver. It's a really fast read. It's a middle school book. You should read it. You've seen the movie though. The movie, there's a movie. It's banned in some states. Really? Oh. When I was a middle school teacher, we read that book, man, every year. The Giver. Okay. All right, let's go down to the next box. Utopia. So just real fast, yeah, you guys know Utopia because I think some of you guys did the Utopian unit last year. Yeah, we had to create our own worlds. That was fun. Okay. And so a utopia, right? So ideally it's perfect, right? Nobody harms anybody. Everybody's together, right? It's all good. I have a friend, she always says, it's all good. I'm like, no, sometimes it's not all good, right? She lives in a utopia. I'm like, girl, I'm a realist. Sometimes it's not good, right? So we're going to go on to the next thing. All right, we have 15 minutes left of class. So we have a couple of things that we're going to be doing. Harrison Bergeron is the story that you're going to be reading. It's a short story. It's a little nuts. I'm going to give you that heads up is that it is nuts. All right. So try click on the link just so that you guys have it. Can you guys like click on that? Does it work? I just saw like 3 people yawn all at the same time. That's pretty crazy. All right. Okay. All right. So go back to the canvas and it says, before reading Harrison Bergeron, I need you to go to Edpuzzle and watch just a quick video. It's like 5 minutes long on dystopia, and then just kind of take notes and then interact with the video in Edpuzzle. When you read Harrison Bergeron, Yeah, you can go ahead and take notes. I'm giving you the questions ahead of time. So the first one is that each person has a handicap. Okay, I'm just giving you that, right? And so we have Hazel, George, and Harrison. Okay, so if you guys want to take notes that way and just write down the names in your notebook, you can go ahead and start doing that already. Okay, and then number 2 is, how does the government control the characters in the year 2081? All right, so it's going to be in the future, and you're going to name 3 ways other than the handicaps of the characters. Okay, so how does the government control? You're going to find little examples. Okay, any questions on this assignment? Please, you get them. Okay, all right, so this is worth 10 points. Go to the next part of the module, please. So I'm also giving you a video, but you gotta like promise me. Everybody hold up their right hand and repeat after me. Kumu, I promise to read the story before I watch the video. I don't believe you guys at all, whatever. Okay, so we're gonna hold ourselves accountable. What we have here is in Ed Puzzle, you're gonna watch the video. So you're earning points by watching a video. You're welcome. Yeah, you guys told me thank you. I saw. Okay, so you're gonna be like a movie critic. Okay, that's kind of like your role. So it says, what is a cautionary tale of our modern times? So referring to Harrison Bergeron. Which media was better at portraying the cautionary tale of our modern times? The video's version of Harrison Bergeron, or the short story? Okay, so you're gonna have to use 2 details from the short story and 2 details from the video. That's your assignment for the week, along with your 3 membeans. Okay, that's all you have to do. So if you look below, it's kind of like a CER, so just make sure if you look at the criteria, and I hope you guys take the time to look at the criteria for the rubric so that you can score your best scores. I am taking the time to actually write out these rubrics so that I hold myself accountable. This is how you're going to earn the points. Okay, so that's me ensuring you that that's the only way I can grade you. Okay, good. Okay, anybody have questions?
Wait,
Yes. Did somebody say wait?
wait, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Wait, so is the video the Ed puzzle or no?
Yes.
It is?
So do you guys want to just get onto Ed Puzzle just to see what I'm talking about? Go ahead, get onto Ed Puzzle. Okay, so you guys see the video for dystopia, the dystopia, right? And then the next one, do you see the next one for, no? Oh my gosh, where did it go? Oh, here it is. I didn't assign it. Okay, so I'm gonna assign it and then you should see it now. Try refresh. Did it work? Awesome. Okay, so again, you promised me that you're going to read the story first. It is really, really, really strange and messed up. Remember, you're reading a dystopian piece of literature. So what you're going to be reading is like really crazy rules on how to control people, right? In your notes, go ahead and write down, what is the point of this story? Go ahead and write that down in your notes, real big, just real big. I should see everybody writing this down. What is the point of this story? Question mark, crazy face emoji, whatever it takes. Okay, because Kai is going to email me and be like, Kumu, what's up with this story? Okay. So what is the point of Harrison Bergeron? Okay, so you have dystopia to look through and then Harrison Bergeron. Okay, questions on this week? Okay. Just a heads up. We're gonna read an entire like short story in next week. Okay, so I just want to give you the heads up. It's this book, okay, called Anthem, which is another dystopian. It's really thin. Okay, I was going to have you guys borrow this book, but then I pulled it off the shelf. You guys know when you guys picked up all your materials, because I was like, well, it's on the internet, so you know, just giving you guys a heads up. It's only 100 pages, but it's crazy how easy of a read it is. Okay, so I'm just giving you a heads up on that. Alrighty, guys. I think we're good to go. I think everybody's good to go. You know what you can do right now, since you guys are all in Ed Puzzle, is watch the dystopian video. Okay, right. Okay, go ahead and play it, and then we can get out of here. Okay, so remember, everything's due Sunday night. Okay, we're gonna hold ourselves accountable. For the most part, this class did pretty well last quarter. Okay, let's do this. We got this. If you ever need help, if you want to set up a regular tutoring session with me just to keep your guys selves accountable, then my gosh, email me. We can work through this, right? Okay, anybody have anything else to say? No? Okay. You have like 5 minutes left of class. Okay, watch the Ed Puzzle video, and then you can start reading. Okay, bye you guys. Take care. Let's do this right.